Hello fellow YouTubers and welcome to my channel, dedicated to all things gaming in virtual reality. Let's face it, 2020 can do one, but it has still managed to be a great year in VR. So let's take a look back at some of the best stuff that happened and dive back into what was a very important time for our burgeoning hobby. So let's get into it then, and remember, we're born to respawn. "2020 has turned out to be the strangest year I can ever remember living through, having spent most of it in some form of lockdown or tight restrictions. Basically, like everyone else, I've been stuck in the house, or in my case, the man cave, since it all kicked off. But despite all the doom and gloom, it has been a great year for VR. Not least in the fact that I launched my channel in 2020 and I've had great support from everyone who has watched, liked and subbed to the channel. My current goal is to hit 10,000 subs by the end of March 2021. So I'd really appreciate your help in reaching that lofty number. So I'm going to look back and recap the stories that I think are the most important in this topsy-turvy year. I'll talk about 4 subjects: my game of the year, the best hardware release of the year, my biggest news story, and finally 2020's biggest stinker, the most disappointing game I had the misfortune to endure. Excited? I know I am, so let's get straight into it. 2020's best game is without doubt the beast that is Half-Life Alyx. Valve have once again shown why they are the masters of all they survey. Half-Life Alyx not only reset the bar for visual fidelity, it rewrote the book on what was possible in VR, then set fire to the book, threw the flaming book into a runaway train full of petrol, which then exploded outside the front door of every other VR developer. I bet the guys at Respawn looked at Half-Life Alyx and thought, shit. That scene on the balcony when the vista of City 17 is thrown in front of your eyes still makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. But it's not just visual candy, there is a great campaign in there as well, and you can almost smell the sweat and tears that Valve put into this game, as it has been polished until it shines in so many aspects. I was lucky enough to play through on my Valve Index, clearly how the game was intended to be played, but I also played through on my Quest using virtual desktop and had just as good a time. Now I'm going to make a statement here, and I don't do this lightly. I'm a gamer at heart, and I've been involved in video gaming for 40 years. Yes, I am that old. Half-Life Alyx isn't just the best game I've ever played in VR, it's one of the best games I've played, period. And that elite group contains classics like Super Mario World, Super Metroid, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Tomb Raider, Halo, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Seriously, it's that good. If you haven't tried it yet, I think it's currently on sale on the Steam store, so go get yourself a copy. Honourable mentions for my game of the year. Walking Dead Saints and Sinners was a fantastic game with great weapons, a lengthy, quality single-player story, and the best zombies I've ever seen in VR. Phantom Covert Ops was a unique paddle-em-up murder canoe simulator, which I had great fun with, plus it was cross-buy, so I got to experience it on Quest and on PC VR via link cable. Star Wars Squadrons ticked all my childhood space combat simulator dreams in a beautiful package wrapped up in all the Star Wars lore and music you would come to expect. It's just a pity that I'm more Red 3 than Red 5. And a final mention has to go to the best multiplayer game I've ever had the pleasure to play in VR. Population 1 is Battle Royale done right by the developer Big Box. The fly, climb, build mechanics have been beautifully incorporated into a seemingly simple game that has massive depth and subtlety, easy to pick up and play, but fiendishly difficult to claim that delicious chicken dinner. Moving on to the biggest news story of 2020, and a story that I believe has not played out fully yet and could yet have massive implications for VR as a whole. At Oculus Connect 7, Facebook announced that any new Quest 2 users would have to link a Facebook account to their newly purchased device. Now this is nothing new. I have a Microsoft account for my Xbox, I have a Samsung account for my phone, and an Amazon account for my Alexa. Where Facebook's announcement differs from all those I've mentioned is that if your Facebook account is suspended or you get banned, then you lose access to your Oculus Quest and any software you have purchased, period. And as anybody knows who has had problems with their Facebook account, it is notoriously difficult to contact customer services and speak to an actual human being. The German competition watchdog was so concerned about this invasion of personal privacy that they banned the sale of all Oculus products in the country and have filed antitrust lawsuits which state linking virtual reality products and the group's social network in this way could constitute a prohibited abuse of dominance by Facebook. To this very moment, you cannot buy an Oculus product in Germany. So what are my thoughts on this subject? I have a Facebook account. I have linked my Facebook account to my Oculus account. I'm quite vanilla in what I post on Facebook, mostly pictures of my dog being cute, what food I'm eating, or a funny meme. But I'm an educated person, not some crazy who gets all his info from the internet, and occasionally I have a good rant. My opinion, my personal thoughts, nothing more, nothing less. That rant could get me banned from my main source of VR. Having an opinion that differs from the algorithm that controls Facebook could remove my ability to use a retail, electronic consumer device that I've paid for with my own hard-earned cash. You just think about that for a moment. Think about all the children under the age of 13 who got an Oculus Quest 2 for Christmas. If they don't have a Facebook account, they can't use it. Facebook has a monopoly on standalone VR. No other manufacturer can compete with them, and that is a worrying trend. This story will run on in 2021, and I for one will be interested to see how that lawsuit plays out in the German courts. And moving on swiftly to my favourite hardware release of the year. It's the Oculus Quest 2. So putting aside controversy for a minute, when the specs of the new Oculus headset were leaked just prior to Facebook Connect 7, I was highly sceptical. An 1832 by 1920 LCD panel capable of 90 Hz and Qualcomm's latest Snapdragon XR2, and all for just £299. Surely not. There were some compromises made, however. The audio solution isn't the best, the head strap is cheap and it's a little uncomfortable for prolonged play, but if you take the standalone £299 headset and treat it as an upgradable device, it really is a terrific little unit. My Quest 2 currently stands me at £600 with the following upgrades. Logitech G Pro X headset, £100. Elite strap and battery, £120. Protube Pro straps and cups, £50, though these items were provided by Protube for me to review. And finally, the VR cover Winter Edition at £30. I'll be comparing my setup with the base Quest 2 in a separate video in the new year. Plus, with the addition of Oculus Quest version of Virtual Desktop, I can play all my PC VR content wirelessly on my Quest at 90 Hz, with graphics pumped up to high for gorgeous crisp visuals. My Valve Index is currently looking a bit overpriced and unloved at the moment. So now we come to the 2020 Stinker of the Year award. The biggest turkey to land on my hard drive this year is the absolutely overpriced, under-optimised, gigantic download of poo that is Medal of Honor Above and Beyond. Honestly, I was so disappointed with this game, in turns brilliant and terrible, sometimes at the same time as well. That is some feat of overselling and under-delivering. It's almost as if Respawn started developing the game in 2016 and just didn't look at how other games were developing in terms of graphics and gameplay. They must have shit their pants when Half-Life Alyx dropped. It may get better, it may get patched to improve things, but I think it was very relevant that 4 days after release the multiplayer was already dead and buried. Empty servers, terrible stuttering, just an absolute mess if you compare it to something so polished and brilliant as Population 1. An honourable mention must also go to The Walking Dead Onslaught. After the brilliant Saints and Sinners, this was such a massive backward step for the Walking Dead franchise. Another hugely anticipated game that absolutely stunk the place up. Shame. Anywho, that was my retrospective look back at 2020. A terrible year in every way, except if you were into virtual reality. How was your year in VR? What was your favourite game of the year? Get involved, comment down below. One final recommendation to while away the winter games drought. If you haven't already done so, go pick up a copy of Ready Player One by Ernest Cline and give it a read. Such a good book, especially if you're a child of the 80s like me. And there's now a sequel too, so should kill a few hours while we're waiting for the next big VR hit. Well, that's all for today. Thanks for supporting the channel and helping me to grow so rapidly. Let's see if we can make 2021 a better year and hit that end of March 10k subs target. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the other side.